Before I go to our panel, I'd like to bring on another speaker, Tony Sykes. Tony is the owner of General Insurance Brokers of Australia. Tony published an article this week that caught my eye, How to Protect Your Manufacturing Business from These Important Risks. Tony couldn't join us live today, but he was able to take a few minutes to talk us through some of the points in that article. And here he is. G'day, Tony.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
Very good indeed. Listen, before we get on to the article itself, what's happening in the insurance space when it comes to manufacturing?
It's a good question. So at the moment, what we're finding with the insurers is that their risk appetite is under attack. So they can only insure manufacturers who actually take their risk and their risk management correctly and does the right thing as far as risk management.
Okay. All right. So it's a time when you've got to be dotting your I's and crossing your T's and talking to people like yourself, no doubt. I've always thought that if you're buying a business, a good place, or if you're buying a business or starting a business, a good place to start is with an insurance broker, even before you do your business plan. And the reason I've thought that is because you guys identify insurable risks and you list insurable risks, and often, I know even in my business, the insurers identify stuff that we hadn't thought about, but we're certainly very glad they told us about them. Here's a list of the risks that you've identified in the manufacturing space. Do any of these stand out in particular when it comes to rebooting manufacturing in Australia?
Oh, look, I think the main one that's there is the business interruption cover. We need to protect their gross profits in the event of things happening. So with manufacturing, it can be a high risk area. And when things do go wrong, e.g. a storm, a fire, or malicious damage, it's not just a matter of them buying a new laptop and getting up and going again. They actually need to have proper insurance to protect their loss of gross profits so they can actually get back to business again.
And dare I ask, was COVID an insurable risk when it came to business interruption?
It's a really good question. It was not, in my opinion, right? It was not an intended insured event under the policies. However, there were some technicalities where the Quarantine Act's wording was changed, and some of the policies technically weren't worded correctly and were providing the cover. But it's been tested by the Insurance Council of Australia, and it looks like the insurers are actually winning that fight, because it's pretty obvious the intention was not there for a pandemic event to be covered under business policies. Certainly under corporate travels, but not under business policies.
When do they make that decision? When do we find out?
In fact, it's just being tested at the moment. So I think it's only a matter of weeks where we'll get something probably from the Insurance Council of Australia to let us know how that's going to go.
So I've got a couple of experts coming on very shortly tomorrow, your time, to talk about finance and strategy when it comes to rebooting manufacturing in Australia. Is there anything on that list, anything else on that list that stands out that you think I should be putting to the boys?
Absolutely. So there's the product and public liability insurance. Your customers aren't going to deal with you as a manufacturer unless you can produce certificate of currencies for your public and product liability. The landlord's not going to let you lease premises unless you can produce certificate of currencies for your public liability. And what you mentioned before about using a broker early in the piece is a great idea, especially in this market, because it's a limited market. Insurers are picking what they are insuring because they don't have the investment incomes. So therefore, they're going to make sure that their underwriting profits are bang on. It takes time to get quotes.
Well, I can tell you, particularly when you're capital raising, your potential investors may think of risks that you don't think of on your own, and those risks are certainly the ones that insurers have thought of. So that's why I think those lists that you provide are really good. Listen, Tony, I really appreciate your time. Hopefully we can get you back as a panellist when you don't have international conference calls to do with.
Absolute pleasure, Nick. Nice to help, buddy.
Thanks a lot.
Take care. Bye-bye.